Tonight on Lost Gear, I pull off some sick stunts, steal a car, and get shot for it. Racing is an expensive sport. Well, if you do it legally. Of course you can just steal a car and enter the street racing scene, which works for so long until you get arrested. Or shot. Most likely shot. But there needs to be a cheap way to enter racing without breaking the law. And well, of course there are alternatives to the big boys that we've already tested. Tonight we are going to test the beginner stage of each and every race driver's career by looking at some miniature beginner race cars. These will be the Dinka Veto Classic, the Dinka Veto Modern, and the Grotti Brioso R. And we'll be checking A, if they're affordable, B, if they're fun to drive, and of course C, if they're any good on a racetrack. And without further ado, let's get into it. As always, let's check the prices first. The Veto Classic, which is an old used go-kart, shouldn't be that expensive, right? What? That's almost $900,000. Are you kidding me? You can get almost 9 Comets for that price. Well, maybe it's gotta do something with collector's value and the Veto Modern is a lot cheaper. 995,000. Well, let's forget the go-karts. They are more for drivers that want to get into open wheel racing, and we all know you need to be shitting money to reach that level. Maybe the prices for the Brioso RA are a little more modest? Oh hey, that's actually alright. I guess that's a massive win for the Brioso 300's younger brother on steroids. Moving on, let's consider driving pleasure. And here we have two very different characteristics. The Vetos are made for very tight and twisty short tracks that regular road cars barely fit on. And this style of tracks paired with these small racers is real fun, especially if you're hitting your local go-kart track with a couple of friends. But even if you don't have any friends, just like me, it is still a lot of fun driving them on your own. And I bet you can't do this with any other car. This is where the Brioso RA can't really shine. It handles... well, it handles like crap, let's face it. It's kinda good for putting new drivers to a test if they can actually keep their car on the track before you let them handle something that's a lot more expensive to fix if they crash. But it is really lacking a pleasurable driving experience. That plus it feels really slow, although it goes a lot faster than the Vetos, probably. It still feels slower than them. That's kinda an accomplishment as well. Not a good one though. But maybe this is all just a false assumption by me. Let's determine once and for all which of these is the fastest car. And the passionate Lost Gear enjoyer, of which I'm proud to say there seem to be a lot more of you now, and I don't even know most of you personally, so that's an accomplishment as well, a good one this time. But you will know that we usually have 4 cars on our Ford Zancudo test track, and today's no different. The 3 vehicles will be tested against the smallest road car you can see on the roads of Los Santos, the Benefactor Panto. And now, without further ado, let's hit the track. And here we are on our Ford Zancudo test track. On the top left you see the Veto Classic, Veto Modern on the top right, bottom left it's the Brioso RA, and in the bottom right we see the Panto, and off we go. Now this is a real interesting comparison because you usually don't see these cars going at each other, so this may spring one surprise or two. So first of all, we see that the Brioso RA is by far the first one to reach the Pisswasser chicane. This is just as we expected it to be, but there seems to be a significant difference between the Veto Modern and the Veto Classic, as the Veto Modern is significantly ahead of the Veto Classic, and it's going head to head with the Panto. The Panto was able to get a slight lead. Now it's back to the Veto Modern, who had the upper hand in the technical bit. The Veto Classic is pretty far behind, just as the Brioso RA is pretty far ahead. It's already here at that hairpin. It will reach the final corner in a couple of seconds. The most interesting bit is between the Veto Modern and the Panto. Ahead of the final corner, the Veto Modern is slightly ahead. It was able to extend its advantage, and the Brioso RA crosses the finish line now. Second, the Veto Modern. Third, the Panto. And third will be the Veto Classic. And now let's see where these puts our cars on the Lost Gear Hall of Fame. And you didn't really think one of them would pop up on the first page, and neither did I, so we have to go down the order quite a bit to see the first one, which is the Brioso RA, which ranks in at 38th spot, just ahead of the Chaborek, faster than the Blister Kanjo actually, but slower than the BF Club, which remains the fastest compact that we've seen so far. And then on the next page you can see the Veto Modern, which has just beaten the Halloween cars we saw last time, and just below them ranks the Panto in 44th, just ahead of the Rhapsody, so at least it beat that one. And the Veto Classic was actually faster than the Issy Classic, so the Go-Karts weren't really that bad. I expected them to rank much lower, but this is actually alright for a car that's, well, barely the third of size that any of these other cars have, so quite impressive still. Well, and what do we take from that? Sometimes the fastest car may not feel like the fastest car at all. And on that wisdom, we end our show. Thank you so much for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video, subscribe, and check out the Lost Gear playlist if you want to see more. And don't forget to leave a comment with which cars you want to see featured next. Until then, goodbye.